Hey everybody, I want to talk about a potentially hot button issue, a potentially emotionally charged issue, and I know that's pretty much all I talk about on my channel, but even so, the warning is necessary nonetheless. So today I found out that Michelle Branch, the singer-songwriter, has been arrested on allegations of domestic assault of her husband, who's a member of the Black Keys, the band. And I found out about this by way of NBC News's Facebook post about it. And the Facebook responses to this article were absolutely atrocious. I want to read some of them to you to understand, to be very clear. I am not in any way, shape, or form asking you to engage with these people. I'm not going to read their names because I think that would be a violation of the YouTube terms of service. But I do think personally that if you're going to make horrible statements like these, you should be willing to stand behind them. Please don't engage with any of these people. I'm just reading these to make a point, but please don't stir the pot of internet drama. Don't try to make it worse, okay? Anyway, female poster says, good for her. She went without incident and she let him know how she feels about his cheating ways. He's lucky she didn't do worse. Female poster, he had the mother of his 2 young children arrested for slapping him after he cheated on her. Okay. Female poster, I'm sure he deserved it. Female poster, he asked for it. Male poster, so is it the Black Eyed Keys now? I'm sure he probably deserved it. Gender neutral name, he had her arrested for slapping him. Man card, please. Female poster, I hope she gave him the Fred Flintstone slap from way back. #clown. Next time let me hold the bail money. Male poster, oh come on, really? For getting slapped you have her arrested? The sissification of America is astounding. Female poster, he probably deserved it. Gender neutral name, man card revoked if you can't take a slap from a female. Or I should say gender ambiguous name. But anyway. That is all of that is absolutely vile, absolutely horrible. And it's amazing to me, what's more amazing to me is the treatment of anyone who stands up and says that is wrong. And I've been following issues like these and commenting on them long enough to know what kind of response you get. The response you get for saying that this is not only that this is wrong, but that there is a level of societal ignorance and prejudice that needs to be addressed as evidenced by these comments. What you get accused of is being a member of some far-right political faction, of being a pathetic incel that can't get laid, of being angry at and intimidated by powerful women and wanting to roll back women's hard-won political advances, political and social advances, and that sort of thing. Sorry, I'm getting over some kind of sinus thing that happened. Anyway, but that's amazing to me that, I'm going to make 3 completely uncontroversial statements. Men should not assault women. Men should not assault other men. Women should not assault women. And now if I say women should not assault men, the world explodes in controversy in response to that. And we wonder why, or I shouldn't say we wonder, but the press and the media has been standing there confused, scratching their heads with their jaws on the floor, trying to understand why there has been this extraordinary negative reaction to Amber Heard and how she treated Johnny Depp. they can't understand why some people could be outraged that somebody not only carried out extraordinary psychopathic levels of domestic abuse against somebody and got away with it for years, but also had the gall to hold themselves up as a beacon of hope and representation for survivors of domestic abuse, and had the gall to secure that position for herself by publicly proclaiming her victim to be the actual abuser. They can't understand why people would be outraged and infuriated by all of that. I made a video about why I stand with Johnny Depp, and in that video, I talked in the most vague possible terms about a woman who had abused me, and I used the most vague possible terms to describe her because I was terrified, and am still terrified, that she will come out of the woodwork and start things up again. That because of her, I've lost the desire to pursue romantic relationships, that I don't want to be involved with a woman because of her. Because what happened was so horrible that I never want to experience it again, or risk experiencing it again. And I know that most women are not like that. I know that. I know that the overwhelming majority of women are not like that. But my lizard brain, my autonomic nervous system, does not agree with me, and locks me down anytime the opportunity to pursue something like that presents itself. And I'll have times where I think, okay, I'm feeling better and I'm doing better, and maybe I'll pursue something, maybe I'll pursue a relationship, and I start trying to meet people. And as soon as I do meet somebody, no, we get shut down again. And you're probably going to say I need help and I need therapy, and I am. I'm in therapy. I'm getting it. I'm getting the therapy, the help that I need. But even so, that's the effect. And there are people that are going to laugh at you and say you're pathetic and less than a man. Let me tell you something, by the way. Also, these comments allude to another problem, another prejudice in all of this, another ignorance, I should say, in all of this, which is the idea that, oh, well, men on average are physically stronger than women, so they have the upper hand in all of in domestic abuse situations, so women are automatically the underdogs or something like that. Okay, let me tell you something that should be fairly obvious, but apparently isn't for a lot of people. Yes, men are on average physically stronger than women, and yes, women know that, and yes, female perpetrators of domestic abuse know that. And you know what they can do and what they will do? They'll go get other men to come abuse you physically on their behalf. In my case, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable going out in public in like large gatherings where I don't already know the majority of people that are going to be there. I don't like going to concerts, playing concerts. Used to be one of my favorite things in the world. And it still is something I love and I enjoy, but I do it with considerable trepidation for fear of running into the person that I was just describing. And I do, whenever I go into any kind of public situation where I don't know who's going to be there, I do checks all the time. I check all the time to see if I'm going to run into that person. And what's amazing is there are people, what happens is this gets used as a, there's that one thing I mentioned at the beginning, that if you speak out against this kind of thing, people assume that you're a part of some far-right faction, have some radical right-wing agenda or something like that. Okay, the reason that stereotype exists is because what happens is if you stand up and say, I'm a victim of abuse by a woman, this is an issue that needs to be addressed, I am legitimately scared and legitimately victimized by this person, everybody, at least at the public level, everybody far left, moderate left, center, and moderate right immediately wants nothing to do with you. And the only people that are standing there with their arms wide open and a big grin on their face are the far right. Because they know that they can recruit people that way. Daryl Gates, the famous Los Angeles chief of police, LAPD police chief, said a conservative is just a liberal that got mugged. That's how the far right gets a hold of people. They get a hold of people by absorbing all of these people that are terrified of larger forces outside of their control. And they take them in that way. I would like to think that every person who makes comments like these and who accuses people who advocate on behalf of abused men of being vile, disgusting people and all of that, I would like to think that they have some moment's pause. I would like to think that they have some inner reservation where they know that what they're saying is wrong, that they know that cackling and laughing at people like that is not okay. I have suffered horrible abuse in my life at the hands of men. And I've suffered horrible abuse in my life at the hands of women, one in particular. And this should not be as complicated as it is. It's okay to stand up for all of the downtrodden. I know that I'm usually a lot more verbose than this, and there's not these long, thoughtful pauses and everything, but it just makes me wonder. It's like, how can this persist? How can this ignorance persist? You're probably hearing this and you're tempted to say, oh yeah, well, you're worried about that, but women have to deal with X, Y, Z, and so on. I agree that X, Y, and Z are problems. I'm not trying to take away from that at all. It's not okay for anybody to domestically abuse, period, anybody, irrespective of gender. And it's so simple. It's so simple for you who are coming up with all of these excuses. It's so simple for you to say, you know what? That's not okay either. That's all. That's all you have to do. You don't have to cite statistics that point out that domestic violence of men committing domestic violence against women outnumber cases of women committing domestic violence against men. You don't have to cite all those statistics. You don't have to make all of these wild arguments. You don't have to accuse people of being horrible people because they speak up about this. You can just say, that's wrong too. Somehow we've allowed people, we've allowed this idea to persist, this idea that says that, I guess if I understand it correctly, it's like they're saying that that domestic abuse, they've tried to contextualize domestic abuse as exclusively a women's issue, and that men speaking up about their abuse experiences with abuse by women are somehow men trying to colonize some sort of cultural artifice that belongs exclusively to women or something like that, in this asinine, fucked up way that we have to look at, we're expected to look at the world. You don't have to use words like intersectional. You don't have to use words like patriarchy. You can just be a decent human being and say, yeah, that's also not okay. And you'll notice, if you're just coming to this video just now, if you're only just now seeing this video and you've never seen any of my other stuff, you'll know that something I've been blogging about extensively, recently and in years past, is abortion access. And that's an issue that I care about very passionately. And I very much care about preserving that issue, because I don't believe that women ought to be made into some sort of breeding stock. I don't believe that women should be legally required to be pregnant against their will. I don't believe I believe that refusing their right to, or interfering with their right to abortion access is a crime against humanity. And if you're stunned and surprised by any of those statements, don't waste my time asking me about them in the comments. Go on my channel, look at my other videos about abortion, and inform yourself. Anyway, I'm not trying to take away any rights for women. Nothing I've said here has advocated for far-right extremism. Nothing I've said here has indicated that I don't like powerful women. Indeed, I really don't like subservient women. I don't want to cohabitate with a woman who sees herself as some kind of glorified, some sort of glorified cleaning lady or something like that. I want to be with a real human being with their own thoughts and ideas. I don't want to be with someone that views themselves as fundamentally subservient to me. I don't like having people be superior, or I don't like people carrying themselves as superior or inferior to me. I like the idea of equality on a social level. And you have not heard me say anything that indicates any kind of adherence to a far-right agenda, any kind of contempt for women as a whole. Nothing. That has no such statement has ever been made in that video. All you have to do is say, that's wrong too. That form of domestic abuse is wrong too. And the world will not come to an end if you acknowledge that. If you acknowledge that, nothing bad's going to happen. No one's going to lose any rights in any way, shape, or form. No, nothing's going to get worse for anybody, including you, if you acknowledge that. Domestic violence is wrong in all its forms. It's wrong for men to assault women. It's wrong for men to assault men. It's wrong for women to assault women. And it should be equally wrong for women to assault men. For women to assault men, yeah, sorry. That should be equally wrong as well. I am just genuinely depressed at how difficult it is for people to acknowledge that. It's extraordinary to me. Anyway.